Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit early. Hooey. I was hoping to do it on the 101, but oh well. Anyways, hello, hello, hello. Wonderful to see you guys here. I thought I would do an impromptu today. Hello, Miss Annie Bear. Yeah, your neck is seriously hurting. You've been looking up, 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 up. Yeah, that's quite a lot of wear and tear there. Yep, that's part of why I'm in here today. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Today's the day that your pupper left back in 1986. That's hard. Yeah, back in April. It wasn't her going away time, but one of my pets. It was her birthday, and boy, that just some years it doesn't really hit you, and then other ones it's really rough. Hey, Carl, how you doing today? I check on. Yeah, all I can say on that is, I mean, if you need to cry, but whenever it's older, like mine, it was my pup, and it's not like I really needed to cry or anything. It was just more or less a sadness thing. Wawa nui hamanisa. Well, today what I want to do is I'm actually going to be doing hey ethnicity. This is an impromptu thing because, like what Annie Bear had noticed, Wawa nui is I'm going to be primarily focused on energy work today because my knees this morning when I woke up were not happy campers. I was a little bit struggly today with my right knee, especially. Oh, earlier this week I was hauling saddles back and forth, and so it's just those roping saddles, man. They're pretty heavy. So getting ready for the movie drive-in theater. That's so cool. Paul, what are you gonna go see? Hang tight here for just a second. Oh, Annie Bear, it's no different than you guys hanging the lights and stuff. It's normal, everyday, just normal. It's not something that I have been doing a lot lately, and since I have not been keeping on top of doing it's just I had to move a whole bunch of. If anybody's ever moved heavy roping saddles, those things will weigh anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds. And that was just it. I needed to migrate them. I'm doing some spring cleaning in the front barn, so they needed to be taken off from the stands, moved, put on the stand, and then since I'm trying to sell some of them because I just don't need them. There's no sense in having me hold on to them if somebody else can use them. So wonderful. So offering a free healing today. If somebody simply wants extra, Hypnicity is offering here. And I will be getting started here very shortly. Paul likes horror movies. That's interesting, Paul. Your life is not exciting enough, huh? Okay, hang on a second. We're going to scooch-a-doo. Just a little bit here. Sometimes that makes things, yeah. You like going full throttle. There we go. So, my main focus today is going to be mostly on doing, yeah, I know, like this, the heat and ice patches. Not really doing, and it's like me taking some pain pills and not really working. So that's like, you know what? We're just going to do some energy work today for everybody. So what I'm going to do first is, energetically speaking, I'm going to get everybody on the same page. This is multidimensionality that we're going to do, and I'm going to do some Lemurian light coding. But then what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to hop over and I'm going to do some shiatsu that is done remotely. And so quantum mechanics gets involved with this one. And so whenever we get to that point, you may or may not feel it. Do I go to the movie? I've not actually been to a movie theater in a really long time, and it's been even much, much longer to do the drive-in movie theaters. They just don't exist out here in Oregon because we get a lot of rain, which makes things interesting. Didn't she used to be on Saturdays? I used to do a lot of different interviews with like Valerie Bradshaw at Illumination Portal. And then I also did a lot of interviews with Heart and Soul Connected. That's Alice and Heart and Soul Connected. And this year it's just been, everybody's been busy doing their own thing. And I know quite a few of them are more focused on doing different things, different topics. And so it's just, we've taken a break. So yeah, and then on top of that, we've been doing mushroom business and all kinds of things. So yeah, I haven't been able to get on to later in the week. So anyways, I thought I would do an impromptu thing here. And what I was trying to say earlier is if you are sensitive to energy, you may actually feel me coming and going in and around your body. I usually tell people where I'm located at in and around the body just because it kind of helps sometimes. It can feel a little strange to feel someone touching you and you're not actually got a human around you. That's sometimes a little weird. Your back muscles. Yeah, my main thing is my knees. I've got knees and a hip that's not happy from stuff that I did earlier. So we'll get started. What I'm going to do is some Lemurian light cutting first, just to get us all energetically started. And then what I'll do is I will kind of bounce around and we will be doing some energy clearing for the meridians. Wonderful. Okay, let's get started. Tihe, ori, ora. Mahaka watahi ite ingoa te to iri te otawana. Wai wataputa. Ite ingoa te whenui te rani te katau. Wai wataputa. Ite ingoa te whaia te matua te tama. Wai wataputa. Tihe, ori, ora. Okay, everybody, you tell me, do you want to do a bubble technique right quick, or are you pretty well grounded? Emotionally speaking, how you doing out there? Energetically, I'm going to go ahead and get started some around the neck. So, hey, Rush, how are you this afternoon? Today, primarily, I'm going to be focusing on doing the energy work. So right now, I'm just going to go through the meridians, and I'm at the base of the skull and the neck. Annie Bear, you can keep your head looking either down or just straight ahead, neutral. But everybody else, just kind of do a head check right quick and see if you are pointing your head down too much. If you've been looking down too much, then you can actually lift your chin up so that it's parallel with the ground. Oh, golden retrievers are the bestest. And our furry friends and our feathered friends are in on this as well. This is universal that I'm clearing here. So for the people, if you can, make sure that your jaw is parallel to the floor. Step into our sovereignty, except for Annie Bear. I suspect, Annie Bear, you've been looking up at the ceiling. So if you've been looking up at the ceiling, your choice would be to go to neutral with the head position or even bend it slightly down. What that'll do is we're trying to get some alignment with the neck, just to give those muscles at the back of the neck a little bit of space. And yes, Gray, we will definitely be doing back muscles. And I will be doing some extra TLC on the knees and the hips today. And the shoulders. Aw, there we go. Muscles. And Carl, you were asking specifically about one of I think it was your neighbor or your landlord's puppy. What you can do is you can play this, or if you can't really play it around him, what you can do is just imagine the dog in your mind's eye. And as we're working through the energy system here, it's going to leapfrog from you, through you, to the dog. So if there's anything stuck on his energy system, we'll just loop it right back in here. And we'll just clear off those meridians. Right now, I'm working on the shoulders themselves, both sides. I'm just going to dial through those. Tops of the shoulders, the actual shoulder blades. There are a lot of meridians that run in and around the shoulder blades. Most of them have to do with the digestive system, but it can also be for the heart, pericardium, triple heater. There we go. And then we're going to go up underneath the shoulder blades. As people, we tend to shoulder the weight of the world. We will oftentimes take on things that are not ours to shoulder, or sometimes we'll be really anxious and we will stuff things in and around, especially underneath the shoulder blades. It'll be like shoving things under the carpet. So we want to get those nice and cleared out of there. That's nicer. I'm under the left shoulder blade right now. And again, there are some meridians that flow underneath the shoulder blades themselves. Aww. Aww. Hi, Charlotte. How you doing, honey? Aw, you're a good baby, aren't you? Oh, back, neck, and head have been really rough. Don't worry, Rush. I'm going to be coming back up to the head after I finish the rest of the body. I've already started some. I'm on the right shoulder blade, under the right shoulder blade right now. And I really appreciate everybody coming in here and hanging out with me today. If you're here on a replay, and you can certainly come back to this to do a replay, all of the energy that I'm using on here is timeless, meaning it's already embedded into the energy field. So you can come back and you can replay this. Need to disengage my shoulders. Yes, from your ears. Yes. Yeah, it's really easy to do, especially whenever we're stressed out. Next thing you know, you got your shoulders up around your ears. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go a little further down the back. I'm working on the spine, but also going down. Oh, Merlin's here too. That's so sweet. So we're underneath the shoulder blades on the back. So it's going to be the bottom part of the thoracics. I'm on both sides in the spine. Paul can feel it. Yeah, I bet. And the nice thing about it is if you do not feel it, do not worry, because your meridians are actually responding to the energy that I'm putting out there right now. So you cannot mess this up. It is automatically responding to it. And the really nice thing is that, like I said, it's universal. So this is also going to work for all of our birds, kitties, puppies, horses, livestock, any of the livestock. Even the reptiles will use very similar meridians to the mammals and, of course, the avians. There we go. Great. So the three main channels that we have that will mirror on either side of the lower back is your liver channel, bladder, and your gallbladder. And now we're over the hips, where the lower back meets the hip juncture and all across the top of that. My back could use it. And I thought if I'm doing it, I might as well help everybody. Hi, Raj. Top of the pelvis. And now on a horse, it's called a croup. So it's where the spine goes across the top of the pelvis. And there is a ton of itty bitty little teeny tiny muscles that gets in and around there. Beautiful. We could do some really deep working through that. Would a hot tub help? Would love to have one. A lot of it depends, Paul, on what you've got going. If you have injured yourself and it's something that's called an acute injury where it's fresh, ice is your best friend. And then if it's a slightly older injury that you're trying to recover from, you can do the alternation between heat and ice. And then if it's an older injury or chronic injury, then heat absolutely does help, like the soaking, penetrating. So if you have something like an arthritic joint, I've seen some older ladies that they love to do, like cleaning the dishes by hand after a supper. And the reason why is because that warm dishwater really helps soothe their hands for the arthritic joints. But if you, and I'm simply expressing this because I have done this accidentally back in the day. I I took a really strong hit. I did a shoulder roll incorrectly, so I kind of landed on my shoulder, and I didn't know any better. And I took a hot shower right afterwards, thinking it would help, and in fact, it ended up making the situation worse. So I probably stacked a good couple of extra days on the healing process. I should have iced it instead. But you live and learn. At the moment, I'm down around both hips. I'm actually on the ball sockets of the hips themselves and working on where the psoas muscles and the iliopsoas joins into the top of the hip joint. And then it will wrap in and around. It connects the top of the ball of the hip joint to the base of the spine and does an insertion on the spine itself. And a lot of times this will get really tight, especially if we've had to do like seated job for a while. It's really helpful if you can get up, take a quick break, even 30 seconds to stand up and just bounce on the balls of your toes if you can, or the balls of your feet, just to kind of help with those loosening that front of that hip joint up. Ooh, that was a nice release from someone. Good. And I heard an irk from a puppy. So usually the animals will go do it on their own volition, but make sure that they, of course, have access to water, which almost everybody does, anyways. But if you're a person and you've done any burping or yawning, sneezing, coughing, passing wind, sometimes we'll get some tummy rumbles going whenever we get up onto the abdomen area. Be sure to get yourself a drink of water. Those are all indicators that we've actually released stuff. Usually toxins have been released from your body. This is a good thing, and it goes right into the bloodstream. And so the water will simply help flush it right on out. I think I used the heat when my body needed ice. It's so easy to forget, but yeah, ice is the very first one that you use. Yep. Okay, now we're working on the outer thighs. Yeah, everybody's kind of got aches and pains and stuff. As I said, today I was working on my own because my knees are just not a happy camper. Oh, beautiful. Now we have Liberty. Isn't this sweet? So we have three puppos and Hypnicity joining in. That's gorgeous. How sweet. How sweet. Just listening and really hurting. Thanks so much. Yeah, somebody's top shoulder. And how I work too is my body, it works kind of like a little bit of I pick up the aches and pains from what people are experiencing in my own body. So it kind of mirrors into my own body so I can feel where the ouches are. And that way, whenever I'm working through the meridians, it helps me to push out the aches. Yeah, the shoulder. Yeah, especially somebody's right shoulder, like right here, like this. We'll be coming back to that because some of that has to do with the feet. Shouldn't I have one of those 80s hanging from your feet gizmos? Oh, Lord, good luck. That's Rush. Okay, top of the shoulders. Yeah. We'll be coming back to that. Sometimes it can be with the shoulder, especially if it tracks on the right side, because I do this a lot. You can lay flat on your back in the bed and play with your feet. Play with the placement of your feet, because sometimes the outer edge needs to be higher up than the inner edge. And if you tilt your foot that way, so you roll it so that the outside of the foot is higher than the inner foot, you can feel it releasing all the way through. Oh, you are so welcome, Gray. But you can actually feel that. It will release around the feet, the ankles, the back of the knee, and then it will go all the way up from the knee through the outer hip, under the shoulder blade, in the upper shoulder blade, and I've even had it go all the way up base of the skull, jaw, TMJ, and top of the head before. All because the foot needed realigned. It's really surprising some of the things that are connected, and you don't think it would be, but they really are. Okay, I'm on the bottom of the feet right now. Hi, Gina M. Welcome aboard. Today I'm focused primarily on cleaning and clearing the meridians. I had some aches and pains today, so I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do some working through this. Just saw I saw a blue dot on the back of the ankle, on the foot when I saw that. And weird, my foot has been stinging just below the big toe. Okay. Gray, some of that can just be that you just needed to release that through the toes. There are ting points in the toes. You can imagine your toes pointed down into Mother Earth to ease that off. And sometimes, if you see that, go ahead and touch it and see where it lights up in your body. I wear pressure socks and shoes. My feet have been stinging. There we go. Let it go. Right now we're just kind of releasing things in and out. Give me just a second because there's different ting points for dog paws versus horse feet versus wingtips and feetsies and people feetsies. It's about the only difference that we really have for our meridian points because, of course, even though as humans and mammals we all have we have the same phalanges for the bone structures, it still looks different. It'll take a different expression depending. At the end of the day, sometimes I have the bad feet going on. I'm still working on the feet, and then we will be, once we've released the feet enough, we'll go back up the body. Just some of this is just a matter of waiting for the energy to flow. We're releasing the icky energy into Mother Earth, and then we will be having some of the Mother Earth energy coming straight up from the ground through the feet on the interior of the knees and the legs, which is what we're about to do. We're coming up through the inner ankles right now. And Annie Bear, I'm just going to send along a little bit of extra to your right foot, just to kind of do a pamper pillow around that toe. Yes, this month, the 285 solfeggio, ouch, the solfeggio music is good. Somebody's already working up the spleen meridian on the front of that knee, hanging there. Let me finish with the foot and then we will. They're like, moving on. You're so welcome, honey. There we go. Paul, one of the things you can do too is if you're not diabetic, you can do an Epsom salt foot soak. When I was itty bitty kid, we had an older. It was a community of older German people. And I remember coming up and they were all sitting outside their homes and they were chatting away and they all had their foot baths that they were doing right after supper. And they told me that the Epsom salts, they tried to soak their feet like that at least twice a week because the magnesium helped them. And I remember squirreling away that information as a kid. Oh, beautiful. The 285 hertz puts Rosie to sleep yesterday. That's gorgeous. I'm so glad. Okay, focused a little bit more right now on the left side, the left knee. There is something to do with the diabetics. Apparently, there is a warning on the side of the bag of Epsom salts where you need to be careful if you're a diabetic because there's something in there that can dry the skin. And I would imagine if you were prone to the ulceration stage, you may struggle if it's drying your feet out or your legs. You could accidentally end up with some ulcers that might be difficult to mend. Sometimes, unfortunately, with the diabetes, and funny that we're talking about the diabetes because right now we're working on the anterior spleen meridian, and that is a lot of times the spleen, the actual organ, is affected whenever we have the diabetics. So we're going to power wash the knees right now, the interior knees. There are points right underneath the interior of both knees. Well, what we're having that come up is going to be the energy flow that needs to come up through those meridians in the inner legs, and they'll come up into the inner thigh, and then they're going to correspond up to what's called a conception vessel. It's going to run right up the tummy, right up your midline. There we go. And I don't think it's a matter of they can't have a foot salt bath. I think it's a matter of there was a warning label, and it was just brought to my attention this week about the diabetics. Okay, now we're going to move into the inner thighs. We're going to bring all of that energy up. And as soon as I do that, of course, the knees are really achy. So let's just do this in and around the stifles on a dog and the croup on a dog. This is also wear and tear on the horses. Sometimes you can get it between the hock, which is the ankle, and the stifle and the croup. Sometimes that has to do with the angle of the foot itself. So somebody out there, if your horse is kind of struggling right now with the feet thing, especially I'm hearing if the farrier is coming soon, have the farrier check the angles of that hoof when they come. I'm hearing the angles wrong on that. So if you have a horse and you have the farrier coming, just double check with your farrier. Let me see. Thinking the feet, it's old age coming. It's stagnant energy actually with the feet thing, Paul. It's just stagnant energy because the more that you keep your feet well grounded and you can keep the energy flowing, especially around the meridians, it helps because what will happen is the blood flow will follow the chi flow. And where the blood goes, it helps to carry away the toxins, the wear and tear of the various parts of the body. Focusing on the right knee right now, the interior of the knee. And then it'll carry away the detritus and any of the free radicals that are floating around. There we go. Oh, that was a nice pop. Somebody's back just popped. Right hand side. Wonderful. Okay, and we're going to do a little bit of extra pampering because I know in the community we had somebody earlier this week that was struggling with liver but spleen at the same time. And keep in mind this is just entertainment purposes only, and what I'm actually doing is energy work. And so the things that I am calling out, even though they can show up in your actual organs themselves, they do correspond to those organs. This is no substitute for regular. You need to keep doing your due diligence with any of your medical community. This is meant to be complementary. So I'm focused more on your light body and your energy body. Because sometimes with us being down here in the 3D world, the material will bog down and get our light bodies congested. And then it impacts our light, and then it will begin to impact the way that we are interacting with our bodies. And down here, like for example, my knee. I was pinching off the energy flow to my knees because I was compensating in order to move those heavy saddles back to back. I just haven't been doing, I haven't been moving the saddles around that much. So I got weak, and you get stronger, of course, by moving them around, but also by making sure that your energy flow is going on. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, that's great, hypnicity. This is a good sign because that's actually junk that's coming out. It's detoxing through the soles of your feet. And yeah, what Annie Bear, what you're saying there, yes, yes, there has been um, three of us on the West Coast don't feed it. That's great. Um, and that's the other thing I was going to give a heads up on is there's I don't like using the languaging of it because am I still on here? My computer kind of blinked. Um, I don't like giving the languaging to it or the energy to it, but there have been psychic attacks that have been going on. And so it's very easy to have your energy impacted, but it's not actually you. Um, I have been under attack, I guess you could say, for quite some time, or maybe I'm just picking up the programming or the sound or something to do with it. I don't. Normally, I have so many different of those, the high pitched whirling or sounds, the high pitched ringing tones usually are always there. But I have been having these bonker songs that have been coming in, random songs. Most of them have these lyrics that are like abandonment issues. And for that, I was like, whoa, okay, I need to get my shield up. Okay, so foot soaks of any kind not recommended for the diabetics. Not sure why. Still investigating. Hypnicity, if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that it's because sometimes with the diabetics, like I said, they don't respond well with they're slower to recover if you have an injury. So that could easily be it. And yeah, I'll walk us through a bubble technique after I finish doing the energy healing on here. Because any kind of a psychic attack like that, that's exactly what you need to do is a bubble technique so that we bring in the energy from above and below. And then we go ahead and remove anything that isn't us within that space. One of the really good ideas that I had come into is when I finish with the bubble technique, I ask you to put a colored bubble around you. And what I used in the case of the attack is I actually did a silver color, a mirrored silver color, so that whatever it is just bounces back to wherever it came from. The other thing you can do too is just blanket yourself if you don't have time to do the whole instant thing of trying to remember the above and below and walk you through a thing. You can instantly place yourself in like a bubble of just really thick love because those lower frequencies don't deal well with that love vibe. Yep, silver works. Steel works, exactly. Shields of love and light. Yep, 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 shiny. Beautiful. Okay, at the moment I'm working on the stomach itself. And the spleen is tucked right behind that, so I'm just going to give it some TLC. And we have something that's called the triple heater meridian. And what that does is it's the mesentery that holds in and around all of your organs. So it'll also be nestled around your large intestine, small intestine. We're just going to go ahead and slide the hands over just a little bit here. We're going to give some little bit of focused energy into the tummy area. So if you hear tummy rumbles or gurgles, that's me coming through here. And yes, you can pass wind. In fact, I'm surprised if I've been working on a horse and I haven't done that for them. Just going to work through all around the tummy today. Get that good and balanced and released. There we go. Yes, we are guardians, but we're not the only guardians, too. Feels as if an issue you might see. Ray, could you illuminate this a little for me? I'm not too sure what I missed. I sing Lemuria 5 is alive in me. That's beautiful, Annie Bear. Okay, whoever this is definitely coming up through the diaphragm. It's coming up through the lungs. So I think we released something in the your large intestines and your lung meridians are connected. So a lot of times, if you don't have like an active lung infection that's happening, and yet you're having trouble breathing, I tell people to go ahead and look at your diet, especially look at something that you've eaten within the last 24 hours, because sometimes if we have inflammation of the large intestines, it will show up as breathing trouble. Saw this a lot for my dogs whenever I was doing the dog grooming. Because people were convinced that the dog had asthma or breathing respiratory trouble, and it's like you should really look at their dog food instead. And as soon as we corrected the dog food, then oh my word, a lot of times the health benefits just were really impressive. Okay, I don't know who did that, but we're currently working on the paws and the hands right quick. So this is going to be the palms of the hands. Somebody's paw. That's so funny. Hey, Rossi. How you doing? We had an impromptu energy healing. Can arthritic dogs get hairballs? I don't know. It depends on what they've eaten. And yeah, I love coconut oil. Yeah. Yeah. Like I was telling everybody else, I had an impromptu today because I was moving some saddles earlier this week. My knees today were just really not happy bunnies. Knees, hips, lower back. It's kind of sad. So I thought I'd come on here and share my energy healing. Okay, let's get back into the lung tissue. Somebody's dog, I think, just wanted to do that. Oh, I give Rosie hairball medicines because she licks on her paws so much. She likes it. Coconut oil is nice. You're welcome. Lower back. Currently working on somebody's stomach, meridian, and lung. I don't know who this is, but there's still a little bit of a struggle over here. And like I said, it's not just the people that I'm working through, it's also the critters. So, like I said a little bit ago, I had somebody's feetsies come in. That might have been Rosie then wanting her feetsies played with. And, of course, there are ting points in our palms of our hands, which are the paws of the dogs. But we're going to go all the way up into the lung space now and through the heart space, pericardium. The pericardium is the guardian for the heart. A beautiful little plasma vortex heart. Excuse me. That was a good release. A lot of times I'll have things mirror through me simply because the conduit for the energy to flow out is easier through me sometimes than it is through people. Through the rib cage. 2 points in the front. Okay, now I'm going to work through. We've gotten a lot lightened up on the right-hand side, the right shoulder. Front of the shoulder, there it goes. So the neck, thoracics. And now we're going to move up into the head and the face. Oh, I am so sorry, Carl. Carl, if you have the ability, you might want to get like some cotton, like a cotton ball, and put a little bit of cotton in your ears so that you can get some decent sleep. Unfortunately, whenever they're in that state, until they're bred, they're just really going to keep meowing. It's pretty rough. You have my sympathies. I've gone through that with a cat and heat, and boy, it's just not fun. Miserable for absolutely everybody. I like to start with the base of the head and the top of the neck simply because when you're just jumping in, sometimes the energy healing can feel really strange in and around the head and the face. And so now you felt me in and around all over the body, and it's easier to accept it around the face. No cotton for your ears, huh? I don't know. I mean, I've been woken up at like 3 in the morning with them literally running on the walls like a racetrack. Like, you know, those little Hot Wheels on those funny little car tracks. My brother had those whenever we were tiny. And that's exactly what the cats were doing. They were running literally along the wall like those cars. It's crazy. They defied gravity. So now I'm at it's called the TMJ, but it's the joint where your jawbone hooks into your ears. And that's just to kind of continue to release some of the tension that was around for the base of the skull and further in the body. Top of the shoulder can also feed into this joint point over here. Mostly it feels like it's humans, but you know, animals, especially horses, can have this happen too. There's a phrase called horsing around where they get themselves hurt just because they've been playing. And it's like, whoops, that shouldn't have gone that way. We're working on the ears, eustachian tubes, which go right down the throat, front of the throat, under the jaws. Okay, everybody, there is some lymph nodes on some people that are various stages of ouch or kind of just actively fighting some stuff. And that sits right underneath the jaws. So let's just go ahead and boost that up a little bit. We're going to stimulate the thymus here in a little bit here. It's our master gland for our immune system as well. And that's the other nice thing too. Balancing our meridians like this, it helps release the emotions in and around the body, but it also helps to ease off the aches and pains. And it will certainly help if you've got like this underlying infection thing going. It will help you to clear off the gunk out of that system faster. So let's get the throat. I haven't had it nearly as much, but I have in the past had psychic attacks in and around the throat structures itself. So sometimes, especially if you're talking about woo-woo topics, it can be where you feel like a throat, where somebody's coming in to close off your throat. Thankfully, that's kind of gone the wayside for a little bit for me, but that can sometimes happen as well. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm hearing we're going to work on the teeth and the gums and the throat structure. Bolster the voice. And always, you have a choice. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. Oh, beautiful, Annie Bear. Yes, sometimes this will happen. And sometimes it's not actual tears, like what you're saying. There's a release happening. I'm crying, but I'm not sad. Sometimes that will happen if you have had in the past where you needed to cry, but you couldn't. You had to just go for it and get your stuff done. But the other thing is sometimes there are releases for the sinuses in and around, and there's also tune points that happen right here at the corners, but also under the eyes themselves in and around. And so sometimes those releases from the face will also cause that to happen. Mostly I'm doing the throat. There's still some sort of a structure behind somebody on the left-hand side of the throat. It's a little under the eustachian tube. We're just trying for a little bit of a release there. Down the windpipe itself. This one feels human. We're just going to get some of that junk going. Yeah, that's just it. Light sleeper. It didn't matter. I was sleeping pretty deep whenever those cats woke me up. Okay, and now we're going to go upper arcadia of the teeth. So the roots of the teeth for the upper arcadia will also be impacted by your sinus cavity. So sometimes you can have swelling in there. Oh. Mm-hmm. Sick dog. She is so stressed, wants me to adopt him, but don't know how I can handle this. Oh, so I could see it, but now that post is gone. Upper name ding. Carl, if you feel too stressed out to, if you're spread too thin, your focus gets spread out. You're not going to be able to do right by your cats and the dog. Oh, okay, Rush. So that might have been you. Well, that was some nice pampering that went on. So let's just set the intention with that the dog is going to find exactly what they need. And if that dog just needs to be helped, I don't know if she's simply sick because she's not picky with that landlord. Maybe there's something going on where the landlord, she's picking up on the. Sometimes with the dogs, if they're nervous to begin with, and you'll see this in cats as well. If the human being is having a terrible time, and then they get angry, then it will put out that energy around them, and it can make it even more stressed out. Yeah. At the moment, I can't, Carl, simply because I'm busy holding a whole bunch of different energy fields for absolutely everybody. If I get a quiet point, I'll see if I can check on him. But honestly, if he can just sit on the edges of the energy field, it will help his meridians and help to calm him down. Debbie, my nephew just called me now. He's coming up on Thursday for the entire summer. God give me strength. I love it. He's 11 years old. That'll be great. You're still house hunting, though, aren't you? I used to go to my relatives in the summertime. I think my mom needed a break, truthfully. But it's a great way to visit with your cousins, too. Yep, still looking. You'll find the right one. Right now, I'm around the brain and the skull itself. And we're also going to include the top of the head. So if you feel like somebody running their fingers through your hair, that's going to be me. Forehead, third eye chakra, which is the center of the forehead. I have room. That's funny. Now we're doing the left ear again. Okay, I'm next. We're going to do the pineal gland. That needs some TLC. So let's get in there. There's some stuff in there that needs broke up with that. It's like a butterfly structure on the underside of the skull itself. It's underside the brain. So you may feel like the upper top of the roof of your mouth vibrating a little bit here. I'm just going to set up just a real small vibration there. Yeah, there it goes. Sometimes we end up with these secretions. They're like calcifications around the pineal gland. And usually what will happen is overnight, whenever you wake up the next morning, the sleep in your eyes can feel really, really hard. And that's some of the secretions that are coming out of the pineal gland. Ah, you're welcome. Somebody just sneezed big time. That's great. That's a good move of the energy there. I'm going to do it again. Yep. You're welcome. Okay, let's get everybody's energy flow going. Right here. Back up the arms. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, everybody. There we go. Wow. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this. And again, you can come back and listen to the replay. You can certainly play this for your pets. Absolutely. Got to ice 20 minutes at a time for the day. That's a really good idea, Annie Bear. Ice is your friend, especially if it's a fresh injury. I will see the replay. Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. You can absolutely come back to the replay for your aches and pains. We went all over the body today, did a complete set. You're so welcome. Very, very, very welcome. Much needed. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Me too. Me too. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. And if anybody wants or needs extra resources, I'm going to be posting those in the pinned comment underneath. You can go visit my website if you would like, or you can just come back for this beautiful little replay. It feels much, much better already. Wonderful. I am so glad. Before I pop out of here, does anybody have any other questions or anything else? Oh, you're so welcome, Inner Knowing. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Does anybody else need anything else from me before we hop off of here? Paul, have fun with your horror flick today. Better you than me. I tend to have a great imagination, so of course, living in previous haunted houses did not help with horror flicks. So I should be on here every Saturday. Well, I'll be attempting to. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll be attempting to come on a little bit more frequently. Might be able to find some people to play with for the interviews. It's just been really, really kind of scattered lately. So, but yes, thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will then see you again on Tuesday. That's the game plan. Okay, everybody. Wawa nui. Bye.